Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today I'm going to be talking to MMA fighter, Dana White Contender Series contestant for this upcoming season, Michael Aswell. How you doing, Mike? How's it going?
Good. Just finished up a little workout in the sauna with my boy.
Let's go.
Got amateur championship this weekend, so been helping him out.
Good luck. Good luck.
Appreciate it.
So, yeah, feeling good, bro. I'm feeling happy, relieved. So.
Yeah, I'm hyped to talk about the Contender Series and all that, but leading up to it, I like to start from the beginning, get an idea of how'd you get into MMA? Is it something you always did? Did you wrestle? How'd you get into it?
Yeah, I played sports like my whole life, so I just kind of been an athlete. And one season I kind of took off football, and these cheerleaders that cheered for my team told me I should, try out jiu-jitsu. And I was like, all right, just to stay in shape. Didn't really think anything of it. And then I did it at Metro Fight Club it was off 45 in Scott at the time. And first class, I got tapped out maybe 6 times by some purple belt. And that was kind of it. I kind of was just like, wow, this is sick. It was more like my first time doing a real individual sport. It wasn't, team-based, right? So it was kind of like you mess up, it's on you. You don't really have anyone to blame. And I kind of fell in love, and I just started training, jiu-jitsu for a year or two. I was doing Muay Thai, kickboxing a little bit, the beginner's class, but it was just, I just was doing jiu-jitsu and doing a bunch of Naga tournament. I mean, whatever tournament I could find, I was, traveling and doing it. And then kind of stopped for a little bit. And I started wrestling in high school my sophomore year. And once I started doing that, I was like, maybe I should get back to jiu-jitsu to kind of help out with the wrestling a little bit. And then once I got back, I was doing the classes, and my coach saw, just kind of pulled me into his office and was, so I think you can be very special. If you lose, I was maybe 210 at the time. He's like, you lose weight, get to 145, I'll let you fight for me and I'll train you. And
that's a big cut.
And I was like, shit, sounds good to me. So I cut down, and then I had my first fight when I was 17, and I actually lost that fight. And that was kind of the start of everything. I was like, I never want to lose. I never want to feel that way I felt, That was kind of it. Kind of after that, it was just full go, just wrestling and wrestling at school and then fighting.
So that's actually something I wanted to touch on is usually everyone I spoke to have spoken to, the earliest they started is about 18. Right. And your first fight was at 17. So what was that like? You were a literal kid still, and you were stepping in there and fighting.
Oh yeah, I find grown dudes. I was finding dudes that were 35. It was crazy. I mean, at that time, you really there's just no fear or really concept of really what you're doing. You're kind of just getting in there and just kind of just going at it. Especially at such a young age, you don't really understand, the dynamic of everything. So when I was 17, I was just getting in there having fun and just trial and error almost. It was awesome though. It was so much. I mean, I try to describe the feeling when you're in there, and it's almost undescribable. You're floating. You feel like you're just floating, and it's you're trying to chase that feeling, constantly. And I'm telling you, the first time I fought, I lost, and it's almost made me I was like, man, I wonder what it feels like to win. And then once you get that win, you're like, whoo, man, F losing, I don't want to lose. It's such a, but, that's part of the game. It happens, but, it's just, God, undescribable. It's awesome.
Yeah, I can relate a little bit because when I first started, I wrestled back in high school.
Right.
And when I started, I was 200 pounds also, and I ended up wrestling at 125. So I
think
a lot. Yeah, I was overweight. And then my first season, I didn't win a single match. I lost every single one.
Yeah.
And then when I got that first dub, it felt nice.
Right. Literally, all the work that you put in, it kind of pays off.
So you mentioned that your base was grappling, jujitsu, then some wrestling, but you've been getting most of your work done with your hands lately.
Yeah.
When did that happen? When did that come along?
I would say probably my past 2 fights. I mean, I feel like I always had I have such a weird timing and rhythm with my striking. I just kind of had to figure out how to put it together and how to get some finishes, So it was more. I started working with one of my boxing coaches, just strictly boxing. I have an MMA boxing coach and then just a boxing coach. And there's a lot of things that don't work in the boxing world. In the MMA world from boxing, but there is a lot of things that you can take and use, and we kind of just been focusing on the little details and just working on finishing, and I know that's kind of what the UFC wants, and it's kind of what I want too. We don't get paid by the minute. I want to get out there as fast as I can. So yeah, we just been working on really just a bunch of basics, and just I really feel like I just learned how to jab 3-4 months ago, in a manner that feels good for me, and just it works, so just little things. I knew that maybe my boxing was a little behind on my other aspects, and I just kind of just been working on it, and day by day just getting a little bit better.
Nice. So you mentioned an MMA boxing coach and a regular boxing coach. What's the difference there?
Like I said, there's a lot of things in boxing that can't really be used in MMA, but there's a lot of things that can be used, right? So it's more just being able to, this is where you should move, this is how you should move, right? And then the MMA boxing is we're working on things that can be used, right? We're kind of really focusing on certain combinations and certain things that are going to be effective, right? So, and then it's mixing these two together, hey, I just learned this here, let's mix it in with MMA, and then kind of get our own little style and rhythm to it. But yeah, it's been working these past couple fights. So
definitely working. So talking about your last fight against Nate Richardson, going into that one, your first pro championship belt.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any nerves going into that one?
Yeah, not really nerves. When you're just very confident in yourself and your preparation and the work that you put in, it's more just not nerves, but just being able to just let it go and just let your body take over, and but no nerves, more just I guess excitement and just happiness to really be in that position and get that opportunity. I've been calling for it for a while, so it was kind of nice to see that I was able to get that call or that step up, and to put me in the position where I'm at now.
Did you know going into that you were maybe one fight away or one good performance away from a call up for the Contender series at all?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's kind of what has been told to me. They really just said you win and you'll pretty much get that call. But I won by knockout, so I was kind of pretty confident that I was gonna get that call regardless. Kind of put a stamp on it, because if you went to the decision, then they're kind of thinking, oh well, this guy is a tough guy, right? He fought a bunch of dudes, beat a bunch of good dudes, so maybe he should get the call. But now you're thinking maybe, right? You get the win by finish. There's really no maybes. It's all right, we kind of got to have this kid on,
Especially in the first round like that.
Exactly. It's almost there's no questions, right? So yeah, I knew going in, but I really weren't worried about that too much. I was just kind of just focused on, let me take care of this fight, and the world's gonna work itself out like it usually does. So, and I mean it did, So
yeah, it's a smart way to go about it. So you came in there and you were fighting a really good striker in his own right, and Nate.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that you were going to come in there and try to knock him out early? Did you think you might have to use some grappling, wrestling?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said that, I was oh, I'm going to win by first round knockout. Not to say I didn't think I could win by knockout or first round. It was just maybe the game plan was to kind of drag him into deeper waters, kind of use my, advantages, my cardio, and kind of my, everything to my advantage. So, yeah, it really wasn't part of the plan, but we knew it could be there, right? We knew that there was going to be certain shots that were going to be there, and there were going to be certain things that would be effective. So, it worked out how it worked out. But yeah, I wasn't oh, I'm gonna knock him out in the first round, But I mean, I'm glad it happened that way. Definitely way better.
So let's go to the Contender series now. Where were you at when you got that call? When you got told?
Well, I was just driving after practice, and my manager called me and told me, and he was with my promoter for Fury. They're at the UFC Fight Pass Invitational, the little jiu-jitsu match, and I had a missed call from him, so I kind of had a feeling that's what he was gonna call me about, and then called me in my car. He let me know, and I was thrilled. But he just told me when and where, right? It wasn't like a contract or nothing. So I mean, I knew I was getting it. Like I know my manager, he's, he keeps it real. But for me, it's like until I see it on the dotted line, until I see it in paper and writing, then it's like, all right, now it's a little more real. Like it's
And you mentioned to me that you got the contract, right?
Yesterday, yeah, last night. Manager's like, check your emails. I was like, okay.
Then it became real, right?
Now it's like, okay, it's go time. Like this is it. Here we are. So date, time, opponent, everything. So yeah,
Got it. So how do you feel about your opponent, Bogdan Grad? He's a pretty good fighter, in my opinion. He was on the Contender series last time out, got finished. You have any thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean he's solid. I mean every guy to this next point, is going to be a good fighter, a good solid fighter. So he's got the experience from Contender, so that might help him. I've been there too. I was just in a corner, so I kind of understand how the week goes and all that.
Who'd you corner?
Jacob Silva.
Okay.
Yeah, so when he fought JP Buys, I was in that corner, and I was there for the week, so I kind of had a sense of kind of how it goes down. I've been there for the UFC too during COVID, so he's a solid guy. I think he's gonna be good. He's gonna be tough. I'm gonna just do what I do and fight the way I fight, and like I said, everything should work out how it works out.
So I don't know if you want to talk about it, but do you have like a specific game plan going in there? Any idea of what you want to do other than get a finish, of course?
Oh, right. I mean, I'll talk about it a little bit. I just kind of want to just.
I think you're breaking off, brother.
Hello?
Yeah, I think you broke off a little bit. It's a little laggy over there.
Back?
There we go. Yeah, you're back.
Okay, yeah, I mean, the game plan is just to fight my fight and do what I do best, and that's kind of really it. I mean, we can break it down a little bit, more when we get closer to, but just fight my fight, and just kind of let it go. Like I said, no fear, just go in there and just trust in the training and trust in myself, and everything else should work itself out.
All right. Good luck, man. And all right. So last question I got for you.
What's up?
Hopefully everything works out. You come in there, you knock them out in the first round, get the contract.
Mom.
Any idea who you'd want to fight first in the UFC?
Bro, just give me the contract and sign me up for whoever. Let me climb up. It don't matter to me. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head who I really want to fight right now, but I would fight whoever. It don't matter.
Who I think would be a good fight for you?
Let me hear it.
Hyder Ammo, you know him?
I don't think so.
He was on the Contender series too last season, I think. You guys have similar styles. I think it would be a war.
Maybe you have to send me his topology or his Instagram. I'll go.
I got you once we get off.
Come on.
All right, man. That's all I got for you. Thanks for taking the time. Before we hop out, you want to plug anything? Shout out anybody? It's all yours.
Yeah, man. Shout out my family, my mom, my dad, my sister, my girlfriend, my manager, Jason House, my team, 4 Ounce Fight Club. That's where we're at right now. My coaches, my teammates, boxing coaches, my sponsors, my uncle. I mean, whew.